This is the library of Trickest. What we did is basically integrated all of the open source community tools that community uses, and we can see yours here, the patched one. So basically, we integrated all of those tools. So the first problem we wanted to solve is that you don't need to worry about the installation of the tool, about is the tool updated, or are the parameters fine. And on the left side, you can see the categories which are sorted per tool. So you can, when you're building the workflow, you can see what kind of category you wanna do. So I had an idea for this talk to create a workflow which will get all of the domains for a particular company, root domains for a particular company, do a simple recon, basically finding the subdomains, then resolve all of the subdomains, get all of the web servers, and then do some kind of vulnerability scanning, and you will see that shortly. So when you open for example, go to recon, and then you can see all of the tools. And I love AMAS because it is really a great tool, and it will be the first tool that we will use here in the platform. And when you open the page of the tool, you can see all of the description, the repositories, and of course, all of the parameters. So as I mentioned, like you need to execute those commands in terminal, and then you need to remember, is it -nf, -bl, or whatever kind of parameter is. So we wanted to make it easier for hackers to execute those tools by providing the human readable format. And of course, you have the GitHub repository, the Docker image, and you can see how that tool behaves. So I can just jump right into the building of the workflow, because I guess that is the most interesting part of the stream. And like when you enter the editor, you don't have anything basically in the middle, which is canvas, where you drag and drop those tools and create the automations. On the left side are those tools that I showed you from the library, also sorted by categories. We have additional two tools which I will show you in a bit. Additional two types of nodes, which I will show you in a bit, and you will be in the builder tab, meaning that you will build your workflow, and on the run tab will be all of your executions. So basically, we can start with AMAS, and in this case, we have like three types of AMAS nodes, and AMAS Intel is one that will give us the possible root domains of a particular company, and you can also pass it the root domain of the company you already know. So in this case, I will pass it the uber.com, but firstly, let me show you how to configure those tools. So when you drag and drop it, on the left side are the inputs for those tools. So those are the same command line inputs you are providing in the terminal. And of course, Carlos, please interrupt me at any time.
Definitely. No, it's going great. So for the
Okay.
people that just joined, we are checking how in Trickest you can just create a workflow using graphics, just clicking on nodes and putting one node together and defining the attributes. So please continue, Nenad.
Okay, thank you. So when you click on the node, you will have all of the default parameters already there. They are either default or required, so you can immediately connect them to the inputs. But if you want to like configure the tool more, on the right side, when you click on the node, you have all of the parameters that this tool has. So you can enable them and use them in any way you like. So in this case, I will be only using domains parameter and whois parameter, so I can disable the other ones. So I can disable the org parameter, and I can disable the domains file parameter, so it looks prettier when you have all of the inputs and filled up. So now we have like domains and whois enabled as parameters, and we want to give them the values. So for the values, we have four types of inputs. Those are booleans, which basically are just flags. So for example, verbose mode would be Boolean, and this means that that parameter doesn't have any additional value. Folders or directories are basically the input directory for a tool. The strings are probably the most used ones, and those are the actual values for the parameters. And files, of course, are the input files, and they could be, for example, the word lists, domain list file for Amazon, and that kind of stuff. So in this case, I will just drag and drop the string. And as you can see, those have purple color. So basically, you can remember what are the inputs. So strings are purple colored, folders are yellow, booleans are blue, and files are orange. So I will connect the input to the domains parameter, and I will type here uber.com. So what is like probably the best feature of the platform is that we generated the command down there. And of course, you can copy this command if you want and execute it in terminal. So you don't need to worry about the ordering, as I said, and you can just provide the values for a particular tool. So I will, for the whois, I can also either drag and drop the node from here, from the inputs tab, but I can also do it like this. So basically, I don't even need to drag and drop those inputs from the left side.
So
Mhm.
one question I have had with this boolean stuff, because usually you will use a boolean because its value is going to be true, usually.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
do false in this one, what is going to happen in the command line?
It will just disable it.
It just disappear the command. Okay.
Yes. So basically, you can create, for example, a workflow. For example, you want to have active or passive enumeration on with one boolean, and I can show you that in a bit. I can even like expand maybe this workflow. So I can, for example, add a subfinder. And what is also a good feature is that you can connect the same string to the different node. So basically, you can reuse the node. So in the case of the boolean, you can enable for example, it on a multiple tools and then disable it if you want.
Um, I
And
need to
it,
say that I have been using this for months now, and it's awesome, man. It's awesome. You can just run tools like this, like you just drop and drag the tool that will some of these tools will take you to install, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. A lot of them have weird dependencies like
yeah,
mass DNS, mass scan, and just the fact that you can just drag and drop on the parameters and execute, even if you don't do a very complex workflow, you just use a tool, is that even faster.
yes. And one thing also to mention is that you can change the machine type. So basically, you can change on which type of the machines this workflow will be running. And I will explain that when we build the workflow. But for now, I will just put it on the medium machine so it can have a faster execution time. Of course, what's also interesting is that you have your versions, so you can do some sort of like commits when you are creating the workflow. So you can say, I created a new version, and this is what is updated. So also other people could see the versions and basically see how you build the workflow and learn from it. So I can just execute this workflow on one medium machine, and we can see what it happens. Basically, when you execute the workflow, it will go to the run tab, which means that the execution is already there. And currently it is pending, meaning that we are scaling up and down. We are, in this case, scaling up the machines, but basically we have the infrastructure management where we scale up and down the instances based on the workflow's execution. So basically, additional problem that we wanted to solve is that usually you buy the instance and you don't turn it off because you have already all of those tools installed in your own infrastructure, and also you have probably a lot of data from the outputs of the tools. So it will be too much to back up all of the data, turn off the instance, and then again like copy all of that back. So you just pay for the VPS or any kind of infrastructure for your bug bounty hunter or security research always up.
So
So
if
mhm.
if I can ask you a question, I'm just having, because man, the first time I saw this platform, you can see that there is a lot of work behind, and this kind of graphics, this kind of way of treating graphs in a web page. I don't think that even Neo4j does this better. Like it's amazing. So when you started this kind of awesomely big project, your intention was from the beginning to create this company, or you wanted to, or this
No,
just got bigger and bigger, and you say, hey guys, like this is not any this is not something I should be using alone, and we should be creating a company out of this.
Yeah, so like initially I created a web application where you have something like re-engine basically, where you have just a table with the host names, IP addresses, ports, and you have like a buttons where you execute AMAS, you execute Subfinder, you execute masscan. I don't remember currently what are the tools, but basically the same tools that were there. And that was just for my own bug bounty purposes. There was no idea for Trickest at that point. And when I start using it, I had some kind of local setup where I just click on the nodes and don't worry about the command line and just see the dashboard. And at that point, I got a lot of bounties from, like, for example, I just see the screenshot in that table, which is like unauthenticated dashboard with like a lot of critical data. Or I can see some web app, which is kind of looking that it might contain vulnerabilities, or I can see an open port. And basically those kind of informations based on those automation helped me to basically get the bounties and start the company, because I was like, okay, the workflow approach where you just immediately could interconnect the tools, it's not just for me. So that was the main point and the idea. And we gathered the team around it to like that believes in that idea and that they wanna accomplish, because like the terminal, I mean, like I'm not like uh, trying to say that you should get away from terminal, but basically the concepts and prototypes you can make are much easier. You can get back on the terminal always, but to prove what works and what's not, for me at least, it is much easier to do it in UI and in the platform.
Yeah, no, it's true that it's much easier. Well, we will see this later. But once you start putting one node, then the other one, then the other one, and you start having these monsters throwing hundreds of tools, like managing a Bash script doing that, or even a Python script doing that is just not worth it. You need something more structure, and definitely this will see makes that
Yes.
easier.
Okay, so now we waited for 3 minutes, and that is why we got the machines down. So like when we just scaled up the machines, it takes around 3 to 5 minutes to scale them up, and right after, like when we start executing it again, it will take shorter amounts of time. So in this case, we can see here what are the domains, what are the possible other root domains for Uber. I want to like just a point here that they are not always the root domains of a company. So basically you just don't do like some kind of, vulnerability scan of all of those domains, or subdomain scan of all of those domains. So the idea for now, like let's just get back, and we'll get back to this run later. So now we wanna, for example, grep only words that contain Uber. So on, for example, Uber program, you have like Uber Eats. So you have Uber.com and you have Uber Eats. So there is some kind of pattern there. So basically, we can just grab all of the domains that we found that contain Uber. So you can either use a tool, and I will show you how you can use a script later. So in this case, you have this. This is just a script where we added input parameters. So basically, any kind of script, either Bash or Python, could be. You could put the placeholders there, and you can integrate it into the platform. So in this case, we just created a simple Bash script which will cut all of the files that are being inputted and do a grep. So in this case, we want to do a grep for Uber. I will just again supply okay. So I will just supply the string of Uber and connect the output of the AMAS, which we can see here. We have the output.txt, which is basically a hard-coded path of a file output. So if you want to pass the output of the tool from one file to another file input, from file output to file input, you put it in out folder output.txt. And for folders, you put it just into the out folder. So So as we did that, and for the tools, that's by default. So you don't need to do anything basically. For scripts, it's a bit different, but I will show you that. So now we have like we could grab all of the Uber domains or domains containing Uber, and I will just continue to build the workflow. So now we want to get the organization that claimed this domain. So we are sure that we have the Uber scope. So for the Uber, the scope, the organization name is Uber Technologies, but we need first to get all of the whois. And for the whois, we have a script where basically you can verify targets with whois, you can use ripe to get all of the whois, or you can just get the organization. So in this case, we'll just get the organizations, and this is where the fun starts on the platform. So the script nodes are a different type of the nodes than tools. So tools have on the left side the inputs, as I showed you previously. You have files, booleans, folders, and strings. But for the scripts, you only have file and folder inputs and file and folder outputs. And what's happening inside is basically that you can put any kind of script you want. So we have also the custom script node and a lot of templates. So you can just as I said previously, like you have an explanation for the custom script, so you know where are the inputs and where are the outputs. But in this case, we can just do echo and output it to the, as I said, out folder output.txt, and basically the file will be here, so you can connect it to the next tools. So in this case, it's a more complex script, which is basically getting the files in folder, executing cut on them, and then doing the whois and outputting the domain and the whois in this format to the out/output.txt as mentioned. So when I connect the output of this grep string, let me just switch it to the medium. I want to run this. I want to run everything on medium. So you can see where is the path used for an input. So you can either just do something like this, just execute everything in folder, or you can explicitly cut, for example, this input from the previous node. So do you have any questions around scripts, or I can continue?
No, it's great that you can actually. Aren't you worried that people might execute anything? Because as you said, that you can create a custom script, someone could just create a reversal in this script, get a reversal in this machine, and they will be able to get inside this machine that might be in some kind of environment. Actually, I have done already that because I was very curious. What do you think about that?
So we for that we have like all of those are Docker containers, so we are updating them as much as possible, meaning that the base image is updated, and we are of course that's not connected by a question. And for all of those machines, we have an isolated infrastructure where we execute those. So basically, you can do the Docker escape, for example, to the machine if we haven't updated Docker, but we did, and you can then enter your own namespace, because basically those machines are inside of the Kubernetes namespace, basically. So I mean, it is surely like, I don't want to say any kind of system is not totally secure, but we did the best to secure our infrastructure and to secure our users, of course.
Okay, no, that's pretty interesting. I have to say, I didn't try to do anything dangerous. I just got reversal
Okay.
for fun. It's always nice to get these kind of things.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the tools and then we have scripts. I guess that the idea is kind of what we are doing here. You run a couple of tools, and then you always we need to do some formatting in order to give this flexibility.
Yes.
You allow people to just specify the scripts they want to run.
Yes, because like not all of the tool outputs could be used as an inputs.
No, definitely
So
not.
basically, yes. So basically, like sometimes they are just std out output. Sometimes they are in JSON, sometimes in XML. So basically, you can use the scripts to filter out what you don't need to be used in the next tool as an input. So I can just, again, execute this and see if everything is working and get back to building of the workflows. And as I said, this execution will probably happen soon because we already executed and waited for the machines to start. And now we can continue building the workflow. So now we will see the who is, or I should just wait for the workflow to be executed. But like, as it is, like, because like already made this workflow, of course, so I don't make any mistakes because this is an iterative process. But basically, the how the output would be is that you get the root domain and you have something like Uber Technologies.inc along with the other stuff and other organizations that claim this domain. So I want to grab again all of those stuff because like we want just to target Uber Technologies as an organization. So in this case, I will again just drag and drop the same tool which is doing the grabbing, and I will just write the Uber to the string, and of course you can see that it is executing cut in int folder and grabbing for Uber, nothing too complicated. And I will connect it to this node. So now we have all of the Uber technology domains based on the AMAS's output, and you can see here. So we grabbed all of the Uber, all of the domains contain Uber, and we got all of the whois based on those. Now we can continue, and what we want to do. So as I mentioned, like this is the format of the output. So again, script nodes come in handy because we want to, like, we already grabbed the organization, so we just want to get the root domain here. So we have already predefined scripts also for that. So for example, one of the scripts that could be used is this one, which is using awk to take the first row, and it is assuming that the delimiter is space. So in this case, the delimiter is not the space, but it is like 2 dots. And now we will get all of the domains based on that. Also, I forgot to mention that you can change all of the labels, so it is easier for you to understand the workflow, and when you come back to it, you know what you were doing.
Okay.
So let me just get back on this one. Yeah, so AMAS is executed. And again, I want to mention that when you're executing those tools, when you scale up the machines, and then you again execute the tools, we will keep all of those tool images inside of the machine. So on each execution, the workflow will be faster. So now we grabbed, the command got executed that is grabbing the Uber, and you get all of the Uber domains, all of the domains that contain Uber. And for the whois, you can see what the output is, as I mentioned. So you have the domain, you have the delimiter of 2 dots, and you have the organization. So for example, we'll just wait a bit to get the output. And for example, like this one is, we are not sure if that's Uber Technologies or not. So we'll not grab it. We'll not do anything with it. Maybe we can do some deeper research on it and actually verify that is Uber on domain. But in this case, we will not. So we'll just grab the Uber Technologies Inc. domains. So that's why let me just delete this one. So that's why I used again to just grab for Uber like here and get all of the root domains. Okay. And of course, do you have questions? So now we will just print all of the root domains, and I'll put it on the medium machine. So now we have the root domains of a particular company, which we verified that it's theirs. So what we are going to do with it? Of course, we want to get all of the subdomains. So I will just drag and drop AMAS again, but now not AMAS Intel, but AMAS that is getting us the subdomains.
So,
And
Nenad,
mhm.
fast thing, because time is passing too fast. Would you like
Ah,
this
okay,
to be the final node of this workflow to execute it and show it? So then we can talk about other workflows you have already created that are bigger. Because I think
okay,
people
okay,
have already got the idea of how this is working,
okay,
and
okay,
the
cool.
great thing of Trickest is that you can create huge workflows to extract a lot of information, and you have them in the library. So maybe we can show some of them.
Yeah, okay, okay, cool. So in this case, like I wanted to create additionally now, this is where we stopped. So we drag and drop the AMAS and subfinder, got all of the subdomains, and we use two pure DNS instances, which are using the same resolvers, basically the file, which is in our GitHub repository, and it is making pure DNS pretty fast. So both of those will resolve all of the domains we gathered for a particular organization. And we will again use the script, which will merge all of those resolved domains. And then we will use HTTPX to get all of the web servers. And again, as HTTPX is outputting JSON, we will do HTTPX JSON parse, where we'll just get only the URL. And we can see all of the web servers we've got from all of those root domains. And next, we want to like get all of the URLs, because the idea for this was to create some sort of like a company-wide small vulnerability scanner. So in this case, we executed Katana, which is a pretty good spidering tool, but also you can use Go Spider, and you can even just drag and drop the Go Spider if you want here, and then use, and maybe they have different results, I'm not sure, but you can use also Go Spider and then merge all of the results together and then duplicate them with the script. So basically you can just you can make this workflow even better if you want. So in this case, as I mentioned, we have Katana, and to be honest, like when I was building the workflow, the nuclei got some reflected cross-site scriptings on those domains. So I don't want to open yeah, it found four like it's not like actual like full alert cross-site scriptings, but it got some kind of reflections there. So I'm not sure, like I didn't verify that those are the actual reflections, reflected cross-site scripting. So I will just not open
So,
these two nodes.
so I was going to say that this kind of workflow is probably one of the first things that someone that is getting into bug bounty is
Yes,
going to be creating in his bash script.
yes,
But I guess it's not going to be that common if you found just executing these potential vulnerabilities in Uber. Um,
yes.
but yeah, you just show us how easy it will be in Triggers to create this kind of initial workflows.